Hello. Lots of people feel that they've got to please other people in order to feel okay. So they apologize for themselves a lot. They have to agree with people and they don't say no. And they find saying no very difficult. And that's what this video is about. How can people like that start to say no? Now, usually the situation gets like this because you had to please a parent in order to be accepted when you were young. So especially with narcissistic parents, but we call this codependence, where you don't feel okay unless everybody else is okay. And the myth that you grow up with is that if I give enough, I will be loved. And I'll be talking about that myth again later on. So all this is especially true if you had a narcissistic parent. Now, I'm Alan Chatting. I'm a psychotherapist and I'm the author of Raised by a Narcissist. Here is some useful help for you. First of all, in order to stop saying yes to everybody, it's useful if you can start to validate yourself. Validating yourself can be done in various ways, but my suggestion is that you start by giving yourself some time with yourself. Now, it might be some uninterrupted time having some self-care, like go to the hairdressers or get your nails done or something. Just spend some quiet time with yourself, and you might consider doing some journaling and just writing down your thoughts and feelings for you, not to please anybody, but to please yourself. And you might find it helpful while you're doing that to spend some time writing down what's important to you, what are your values, love, honesty, caring for others. Well, we know you already do that, but what else is important? Because caring for others all the time often isn't honest. So think about your values and also think about your goals. Where do you want to be in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years time? What do you want to do with your life? Because you're allowed to work out what you want to do with your life, you know. And throughout all this, make sure you tell yourself, I'm not being selfish. I'm practicing good self-care. And in amongst all of that, what you might want to do, and I'm smiling because I think you might laugh at this, look in the mirror and practice saying no, 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 no. Because the thing is, what you'll notice when you say no in the mirror is that you do not turn into a monster. You just turn into somebody saying no. And it's quite useful for you to kind of just underline that message. Okay, so you want to start saying no. You validated yourself. Now, I said I wanted to say a bit more about that myth, and I want to bust that myth. The fact is that pleasers don't get loved, they get used. And they get used by people who aren't very nice. Decent people prefer you to be honest. Decent people want everybody to get what they want, not just them. So think about that. This is a myth. If you do everything for everybody else, you will not get what you want. In fact, okay, people get a bit annoyed, a bit irritated by pleasing because it's dishonest. Okay, start small. When you're asked to do something or you see a situation that you could make a difference to, take a breath. Just pause and review. Don't do anything for a minute. Don't rush in and say, oh, I'll do that, I'll do that. Don't do it. If someone's actually asked you something, you can buy that time by saying, can I get back to you on that? Can I get back to you when I've checked with my husband? Can I get back to you when I've checked with my wife? Or when I've seen what the kids are doing this week? Or when I've checked my diary? I'll get back to you tomorrow or later. Be prepared also to negotiate on things. If someone says, oh, we're all going out to lunch and we, you know, do you want to come? And you don't want to, that's the point to say, I tell you what, I'll catch up and have a coffee with you. Offer an alternative, a simple alternative. And don't compromise yourself, but negotiate. Negotiate in the sense of saying, no, I won't be able to do that this week. I could do it by the end of the month. I could do it sometime in August. My schedule's really stuffed, but I could consider having that done if I drop something else. You say that, especially if you've got a boss who keeps giving you work. You say, I can do it by next week, or I can do it if I drop those other estimates you gave me to do. Give people alternatives and point out that you are of worth and you do not want to be overburdened. Okay. Next, learn to tolerate discomfort. Now, if I were to say, it's not likely I would, but if I were to say to you, let's go to the gym, and you say, I've never been to the gym before. So I say, oh, that's fine. And off we go to the gym, and you find that after half an hour or so, bits of you start to hurt. Now, you're sensible enough to know that that happens when you go to the gym. It's new and you're not used to it, and it's going to be sore. And if you want to build those muscles, then you'll be a bit sore and you'll be uncomfortable for some weeks. Your mind works in the same way. We are hoping to build some new neural pathways for you. And those neural pathways will not just automatically be okay the first time you use them. So while you're changing and you're trying the things that are in this video, you will be uncomfortable. But the more you do them, the more comfortable you'll get and the more the discomfort will fade away. But there's a need here at the beginning to acknowledge that you feel uncomfortable and a bit twitchy and a bit cringy at saying no to somebody when you've always said yes in the past. I promise you, you'll get used to it and you might even get to like it. So bear in mind, you're going to need to be, for a period of time, maybe some months, challenging your old thoughts and emphasizing the new ones, that you are of value and you are allowed to choose, and that you do not have to please other people to be okay. There's a particular trap for people who please, and that's around people in authority. So a couple of good questions to ask yourself. If you don't like saying no to your boss, ask yourself, does this remind me of being in school? Does this remind me of being a child at home with my mum and dad? And in fact, when I'm with my boss, do I feel like a kid? Because they are all powerful pointers that you're actually acting out what happened to you when you were a child, rather than behaving as the adult that you are now. So remind yourself, you are that adult, you are autonomous. In the trade, we call it shifting state. But I think that you will, having talked about this, you will get the difference. You are listening to this as an adult, and remind yourself, just spend a day or two saying, when do I feel like a child and when do I feel like an adult? And if you don't feel like an adult very much, practice. You'll like it. Okay, next point, avoid toxic people. Now, who are toxic people? Well, generally, they're people who will manipulate you. And toxic people are often those who spot the vulnerability in others and they use it. So if you feel uncomfortable and that you feel made to do things, and that these are people who, even when you said no, will try to manipulate you, keep away from folk like that. They are not good for you, and they will try to impose themselves on people who are vulnerable. So guard your thoughts. Negative thoughts are a long-term habit. You will have been thinking for decades probably, if I don't say yes and please everybody and be nice to everybody, nobody will love me. Now, actually, I can tell you now, and I don't care who you are, and I'll probably never meet you, but that's not true. You are perfectly okay just as you are. You don't need anybody to give you a rubber stamp. Doesn't matter how many of those rubber stamps you get, you'll never feel okay if you can't give yourself the rubber stamp. So long-term habit, challenge those thoughts when you find them coming up and remind yourself, I am okay, actually. I'm an okay person, and I am changing the way I see myself. Last but not least, stop apologizing. Sorry is for when you do something wrong. Sorry is for when you cause offense. You don't say sorry when somebody wants you to move out of the way, when you had a good position for the presentation. You don't say sorry when they step on your foot. Most of the time, you don't need to say sorry, especially not when you say no to somebody. Just say, no, I can't do that. So anyway, I hope this video helps you. I'm Alan Chatting. I'm the author of Raised by a Narcissist. And if you found this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe, and there are more videos on the way. Thanks for watching.